Hey guys. I'm in kind of a weird spot right now. I originally started writing this intro with a very different mindset. I was basically going to complain about how half of the Death Battle Season 10 episodes so far have been Marvel episodes, with most of those involving DC characters as well, how the debate side of things for this fight, in ways, is a little too similar to other Marvel vs. DC fights that we've gotten in the past year and a half, and that combined with having 3 returning combatants in a row right before this has just made Season 10 feel like it's hitting a lot of already charted territory in multiple ways, with some obvious exceptions, and that all stacked together can make for a frustrating experience. And I want to be clear, I still think all of that is valid. I think having 4 Marvel characters within 8 episodes, regardless of how different the specific characters are from each other, and regardless of how often Death Battle likes using comic characters, I think that's a little ridiculous. I think that is solidly too much. However, Martian Manhunter vs. Silver Surfer is one of the only 2 or 3 Marvel vs. DC fights Death Battle could have picked where I feel like I can actually excuse this on a personal level. This matchup is nowhere near my top 10 most wanted death battles or anything like that, but it is a very deep childhood cut. This is the matchup that my brother and I have been talking about and arguing about for the longest time out of, I want to say, any matchup that exists ever, except maybe Bugs versus Mickey. That's another big one. But the point is, I've been thinking about this matchup for years and years and years. I really do love both of the characters, and I think they are representative of amazing aspects of DC and Marvel respectively. I am so happy we got this over Vision versus Martian Manhunter, and I personally didn't think that Martian Manhunter versus Piccolo was that likely, considering that Goku Black versus Reverse Flash's conclusion kind of closed the case on most Dragon Ball versus DC fights, but that was just my opinion. And I thought that if Silver Surfer was going to come to Death Battle, it would have been against Martian Manhunter as opposed to someone like Captain Atom. I know some people wanted to see that fight, but I thought Martian Manhunter was the most likely for him just based on popularity, and I wanted to see Silver Surfer come to the show. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I am very happy that this fight is happening in general. I just can't think of a worse time they could have placed it. I would be all smiles if it was coming out in the second half of the season, but honestly, my enjoyment has kind of been soured just because I am really feeling the burnout. I don't want to feel that way about this fight, you know? It's kind of special to me. These days, it's pretty much impossible to not look at Death Battle episodes as a string of episodes where you're constantly comparing what came earlier to what came later, but I think after Season 10 is all said and done, and I can look at this episode as just an individual episode, I will be happy that it happened. It doesn't make up for Death Battle using so much Marvel and somewhat so much DC so close together, but I have to admit that I am still excited for this episode, just like I've been excited for all of the comic episodes so far this season. So, you know, I feel like yet again I can't complain that much, but I still feel like it's too much at once. I don't think that's an unfair stance to have. But if it wasn't obvious already, yes, Martian Manhunter and Silver Surfer are 2 more of those ridiculously overpowered characters that have fought seemingly everybody to the point where they should match up pretty well in terms of general stats. So again, kind of similar to the stuff we've been getting before with Marvel vs. DC, like pretty recently, but moving on. Even the stuff that you might think should be pretty clear cut, like you might think Silver Surfer should have the speed advantage, or that Martian Manhunter should have the physical strength advantage just based on what they're known for, it's more than likely that the other character has feats that can match up pretty well, some of which Death Battle has already talked about, like Martian Manhunter being able to scan every mind on Earth in 1 unit of Planck time. So unless they put Silver Surfer at like immeasurable speed and not do the same for Martian Manhunter, which they could do, you know, I don't know, but unless they do something like that, they're probably just going to match up to each other pretty well in terms of stats. It's really going to come down to their abilities, and, you know, that's tough because they do have a lot of abilities each, some overlapping and some not. Martian Manhunter's abilities obviously come from his Martian physiology, at least mostly, and Silver Surfer's powers come from the portion of the power cosmic that was given to him by Galactus, you know, with him being his herald for a time and all that. Martian Manhunter can transform and shape his body however he wants and regrow it from next to nothing over and over and over. He has invulnerability, invisibility, intangibility, flight, super senses, various forms of vision, some soul manipulation, and basically every kind of mental ability you can think of. Telekinesis, telepathy, possession, mind control, astral projection, illusions, etc. And assuming that I'm not misinterpreting anything, I have found that Silver Surfer can essentially do all of these things as well, even most of the mental stuff, like the stuff that he might not be as well known for, except, I believe, transform and heal his body to the same degree, although he still has some powers similar to them. He also has gravity, weather, and elemental manipulation. I don't believe Martian Manhunter has the same so-called weakness to fire anymore. He at least didn't at some point, but still important to bring up for Surfer nonetheless. Surfer can also attack souls on the astral plane and can resist such attacks. He can teleport, he can travel through time, travel across dimensions, change matter on the tiniest of levels, create force fields, expel and absorb energy, absorb and suppress the powers of others, and more. That is a lot. Now, one thing I will say is that if Martian Manhunter can successfully and solidly get into Silver Surfer's head, then I think he could do some real damage to him. Not only does he have full-on mind control, whereas for Surfer I believe it's more of an empathic control, although it might extend further based on the feats that he has, I'm not 100% sure. But if he gets inside his head and disrupts the connection that he has with his board, then he might be able to trip him up long enough and buy himself enough time to be able to kill him psychically. After all, he's been able to get the advantage over characters like Despero and Green Lantern with the power of his mind. However, considering that Silver Surfer has essentially every other powerful mental ability that Martian Manhunter has, he's resisted mental attacks from characters as strong as Moondragon, and there are characters in DC with mental barriers or mental defenses who have been able to turn Martian Manhunter's powers against him in the past, I'm not sure if I'd guarantee that that would be the most likely situation to play out comparatively, compared to Surfer's win cons, which we'll get into a little later. I think Martian Manhunter killing Silver Surfer mentally might be more likely than Silver Surfer killing Martian Manhunter mentally. He also has his crazy resistances and, defending against Brainiac and Starro and many, many others. But if he cannot reliably kill Silver Surfer in that manner, which might be a little hard to judge based on all the feats, all the comics and all that, I don't know if he'd be able to kill Silver Surfer in any other manner. Not only has Silver Surfer's consciousness survived after getting his whole body disintegrated, like destroyed by Null, and I believe he was still able to tap into the power cosmic to some degree even while disembodied, but we also know that he just has incredibly strong soul resistances or soul attack resistances, even from forces as strong as the Soul Stone and Mephisto at his best. So that's some pretty insane physical and spiritual defenses. Martian Manhunter, on the other hand, I do not believe would be able to defend as well from those kinds of attacks from Silver Surfer. While Martian Manhunter has tanked anti-energy blasts and even resisted temporal-based assaults before, I don't believe he has feats of that caliber for protecting his soul, which we know Silver Surfer can easily attack while on the astral plane. We also know Silver Surfer can absorb and weaken others' powers, which again, it really just seems like Silver Surfer is the only one that has explicit resistances to those kinds of attacks, even from characters as strong as Mephisto. And for those thinking that Silver Surfer wouldn't be able to get past Martian Manhunter's broken regeneration, the power cosmic literally gives Silver Surfer complete control over the 4 fundamental forces of the universe. These are the things that allow atoms to stay together to any capacity. If you have the 4 fundamental forces just not acting upon you, you are literally no longer anything. This is a level of matter manipulation and physical control that I do not believe Martian Manhunter would just be able to heal from or undo, because it can literally just delete you according to physical description. There is nothing left to heal. And this is also assuming that Silver Surfer doesn't just hit him with a powerful enough cosmic blast that disintegrates his entire body, which I do believe is well within his power set, although it might depend on who we've seen survive such an attack, to be fair. So unless Martian Manhunter has indeed shown resistances to literally all of these hacks that Silver Surfer has, and is able to concretely disrupt and kill Silver Surfer mentally, I'm not sure if I see Martian Manhunter winning this one. And who knows, what I just said might actually end up being the case. Like, I know DC characters are ridiculous, obviously, everyone knows that. But based on what I know about these characters, it really seems to me like Silver Surfer's defenses and resistances are way better defined. We know that Silver Surfer can defend against really powerful mental attacks. We've seen him survive as his consciousness. We've seen him resist getting his soul attacked, resist getting his power stolen, etc., etc. But aside from the mental resistances, I'm not sure if we've seen Martian Manhunter defend as well against any of those other kinds of assaults, many of which Silver Surfer has in his arsenal. And I do believe that Silver Surfer might be able to kill Martian Manhunter physically, either by hitting him with an attack that disintegrates his whole body, or just unmaking his whole body by manipulating fundamental forces. Even if that wouldn't work, he could just attack his soul, or employ various other hacks. And from a sheer scaling perspective, let's be honest, there are so many power cosmic users that exist in Marvel now, that if either one of these characters is going to have a larger pool for how their specific abilities scale, it's going to be Silver Surfer. They're probably going to be about even stat-wise, and I'm not going to pretend like I know what all comparable power cosmic users can do, but Death Battle can find out, and I can easily see them using that to find out if Silver Surfer's abilities can extend beyond what Martian Manhunter can survive. Just a theory. So, you know, I could be wrong on so many accounts, but right now I gotta go with Silver Surfer. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Who do you think is going to win? Are you excited for this episode? How do you feel about them using so many comics? You know, let's start a flame war. Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, comment your comments down below, subscribe if you could too, that'd be amazing. But no matter what you guys do, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.